Hello everybody! Good afternoon! How are you all? Na-miss nyo ba ako? Actually, na-miss ko kayong lahat. So, right now, I'm here in my study area. I'm supposed to study. Eto, I have all of my highlighters here. Meron akong mga libro and everything. Pero, dumarating talaga that I really have to stop, magpo-procrastinate muna. I just can't push myself to read more. May mga ganong panahon talaga. So, just like everybody else, nagpo-procrastinate din po ako. Hindi ako as, yung sinasabi natin, as studious as you might think, no? As most people think. May pagkatama din minsan. Although, I do my best to keep up. Pero, since nagpo-procrastinate naman ako at wala akong ginagawa, and instead of just maybe mindlessly scrolling through social media, I thought might as well go live and be with you. Okay? So, na-miss ko lang kayo and I want you to know na kahit pa I am currently offline at saka hindi ako nagla-live as regular as what we did before in the past months, I'll do spontaneous live like this para magkausap naman tayo. So if you are there watching, thank you all. You can put it in the comments if you are there so that I'll know na nandyan kayo. And I'm thinking, I know na most of you, majority of you, are really starting low-carb nutrition and fasting already. And alam ko na marami na rin sa inyo yung very, very successful. And I congratulate you. And I'm happy na despite na marami na kayong success and marami na rin kayong na-inspire, we are happy that you are still here with us, no? Patuloy nating sinusuportahan yung ating advocacy. We also promote as long as we can, and your support sa page natin, sa groups natin, those are really very, very good things that help our community. Because just the fact that you are liking our posts, you are sharing the ones that we make, the contents, no? That can really add up sa sabi nga natin, the ripple effect of this way of life. So, meron tayong ripple effect na sinasabi na the more we help, no, we advocate, we live this way of life, ay marami rin na i-inspire. So, I hope you are all there. And today, gusto kong i-target sana. So, if you can share this as well to your timeline, to your pages, especially sa mga coaches natin, shout out to all the coaches in our LCF Masterclass. So, we already finished the Pioneer Batch, yung very, very extensive. I know, yung mga nakasali doon, sasabihin nila, yun siguro yung pinaka, draining, exhausting kind, but also the most fulfilling kind of online course or learning or even school. If I can just imagine, although I was the one talking, can you imagine? The first masterclass we did, it is a whole day na Saturday. We started at 9 o'clock, and we would end at 3 o'clock. Yung full lecture yan walang lunch break. But we start earlier, usually 8:30 of getting to know, and we usually end up around 4 o'clock. So all in all you can hear is me talking all about the science, the biochemistry, and lahat-lahat relating to low-carb nutrition and fasting. And I'm so happy that it turned out so good na ngayon, you can see now, marami na talagang low-carb and fasting coaches. And they are the ones that I am really confident because they really went through the struggle then. So, we prepared a full curriculum para surely covered talaga. So, importante that we have all of these baselines because nakikita natin na marami talaga nagsisimula ng low carb, but marami din na hindi nila napagpapatuloy. They were not able to continue, and at the same time, kung na-continue man nila, later on, nakita nila na nagkakaroon ng side effects. So, those side effects are mostly, sadly, mga little things, very, very little side effects na kung na-manage lang sana, if they did it right the first time, hindi yun mangyayari. And that is what we are trying to prevent. So we are thankful for all of the advocates na promoting low-carb nutrition, even those who are promoting keto, since keto mostly, under yan the umbrella ng low-carb. For those na hindi pa masyadong alam or first time na nakita ako po si Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. Isa po akong doktor na ENT specialist, but my heart is in root cause medicine and also nutrition. Okay? And that's why we promote it. So, hindi naman pwedeng ENT yung ipopromote ko kasi ang hirap-hirap na ipromote na alagaan nyo yung tenga ninyo, alagaan nyo yung ilong nyo. So, it's not really very much translatable. ENT as a specialty rather, medyo specific siya. We only get patients yung specific lang talaga for our field na hindi na kaya ng mga general practitioners, okay? When the general practitioners can no longer manage diseases of ears, nose, throat, or even the neck, no, na kailangan ng operahan, they refer that to us. But otherwise, hindi siya ganun ka wide range. There are people who haven't seen an ENT all their lives, no? Kasi hindi at kokonti pa lang din kami in the Philippines. Most of you who are living in the metro, yung nasa main sa city, most of you have heard of ENT. But the general parts of the Philippines, kakaunti pa lang talaga. And so, I advocate the ones that is more translatable and nakaka-prevent ng mga sakit na hindi lang pang ENT, but general. It can promote overall wellness talaga. So, we are thankful for all of those na promoting this way of life, the ones promoting low carb, the ones promoting IF, the ones promoting keto, because they raise awareness. Kasi ngayon, sa Pilipinas, wala pa talagang ganun kagrabing awareness. And the fact that whenever we do our medical mission, the moment pa lang nasabihin namin, so Nay, gusto nyo bang gumaling yung pakiramdam nyo? Oo, of course naman, Dok, na kahit walang gamot, yun talaga yung gusto ko, yung hindi na kailangan mag-depend sa gamot. And the moment we say that, actually one thing that you can do is to no longer depend on rice as a staple food. Sabi talaga, yung sagot nila, no, ano ba naman yan? Imposible naman ata yan. The moment na sinabi namin, actually, never na akong nagkaroon ng sakit sa katawan or kung ano-ano mang before, allergies, yung umaga na halos, this is very common among people age 50s and above, sometimes nga kahit 40s pa lang. The moment they wake up in the morning, halos hindi nila magalaw yung kanilang joints. They have hard time walking and doing things, and nanonotice nila during the day mas umaayos, okay? So the pain go more minimal, so kumukonti as they end their day. Sa umaga lang, pero sa gabi wala na. And that is a classic symptom of what we call as osteoarthritis. So osteoarthritis is like an age-related na disease, and parang ina-accept na natin yon as something that is already common. But now we see na those age-related conditions pala are fairly just related to ating nutrition. And the way we promote nutrition, hindi siya yung kailangan mo mag-prepare kahit ano pa yung favorite food mo, kahit ano pa yung religious preference mo, kahit ano pa yung iyong lugar, whether you live in a coastal area or in the mountains or in the city, or like me na naka-quarantine ngayon. Even that, you can actually just live a sustainable, healthy, low-carb lifestyle as long as you know. So, yung importanteng part dito is we prioritize that. So, yung gusto natin for the people to do it the guided way. Kasi nga, if you are just na-inspire ka lang kasi may nakita kang post na nakita mo yung isang tao na pumayat with low carb keto, sinunod mo agad. Kung ano yung sinabi niyang kinain niya, kinain mo rin. Without knowing na, for example, yung kinain niya puro gulay at saka isda. Tapos sinunod mo rin, but hindi mo alam that you are oxalate sensitive pala. So oxalate is actually a plant toxin na na-accumulate sa katawan, and that can cause even symptoms of arthritis-like symptoms, parang nananakit yung katawan, joint pains, and yung iba, nagkakaroon ng bloating, okay? So, kahit naka-low carb sila, and not everyone is really sensitive to oxalate. Merong iba who are thriving even with high oxalate foods. Yung high oxalate na mga pagkain tulad ng almonds, yung mga nuts and seeds, cacao, yung mga very, very green leafy vegetables, no? All of those are actually high in oxalates. And the moment na mataas yung kanilang oxalate content, that is already a sign na sometimes they give up. They give up easily because they are already not feeling good. And yung important part here is for us to recognize na there's no one size fit all. That's why we have these groups, we have these programs para ma-empower kayo. And yung nagsasabi yung iba, bakit kailangan ko mag-go through sa parang basic, intensive, low-carb nutrition and fasting na lecture? It's because it's like school, no? Hindi ka pwedeng tumungtong ng college kung hindi ka muna nag-high school. At hindi ka muna makakatungtong ng high school nang wala kang foundation in elementary. The very big difference is, for example, ang isang engineer, okay? Marunong siyang umayos ng isang, say for example, ng isang appliance. So, ang isang aircon, yun na lang. So, yung isang aircon, yung engineer, kaya niyang ayusin yan. Okay? And yung electrician na walang pinag-aralan, for example, skilled electrician, yung natuto lang from observership or ganon, marunong din siyang umayos ng air condition. But if you ask that electrician kung alam niya kung bakit nangyayari yon, how come he was able to do all that, bakit ganito yung kailangang ayusin, why this works, they will not be able to answer. Okay? And if you present them with a new problem na hindi nila napag-aralan, they wouldn't know. What they will do is they will do trial and error. Okay? So, thank you. I will post a break to say thank you to 600 of you who are watching. Maraming salamat po. I think this is one of our most watched live video, no? So, moving forward, so yung importante dito, meron tayong basic foundation. Low carb nutrition and fasting, surprisingly, ito talaga yung nakasanayan ng katawan natin as humans, but yung pinakamalaking but dito, hindi natin ito pinag-aralan. And the saddest part somewhat, no? Ito ay something na natabunan na. Okay? So, we are already no longer naturally inclined to do low carb kasi nga we were already influenced by marketing groups, food industries, pharmaceutical industries, and many more. Kaya right now we have to label it. And honestly, as what our friend Marty Kendall, yung sinasabi ni Dr. Ken Berry, wala itong kailangang pangalan. It is actually a proper human diet. No? Ito lang yung the real nutrition that we need. But just so ma-differentiate natin, para lang po mas ma-appreciate natin, we label it as low carb. This is primarily because yung nakasanayan natin is a very high carb food. And we emphasize on the carbohydrate side because carbohydrate is the primary driver of insulin. And kapag tumataas yung insulin, alam na natin ngayon that it's also the primary driver of inflammation. And the moment that there's already inflammation, doon na po naglalabasan lahat ng sakit. Diabetes, hypertension, we have even GERD. So GERD, the one that we posted a while ago, GERD is just inflammation presenting as acidity, okay? Hyperacidity, the reflux, the discomfort. I've had a lot of friends in med school, no? Yung mga kapwa-doktor ko, they've had many trips going to the emergency room para lang magpa-IV kasi yung oral na mga acid suppressant, yung mga PPI, proton pumps inhibitors, all of those, lahat ng yon na try na nila, and yet it is not controllable. Yung alam nyo na sa may mga GERD, no, hindi na nagkakape for the longest time, and yet may GERD pa din. Okay? One factor or one evidence that's na alam natin that it's inflammation induced is one trigger of GERD is stress. Okay? So, kapag nasa-stress po tayo, tumataas yung cortisol natin sa ating katawan, and then when that cortisol is already increased sa ating katawan, there will also be an increase in our sugar, okay, in the body, blood sugar, because gluconeogenesis is activated. Bakit pinapataas ng ating katawan yung glucose kapag nasa-stress tayo? This is because it is a fight and flight response. So, by nature noong unang panahon, when we were still hunter-gatherers, nasa-stress lang tayo kapag meron tayong kalaban, or meron tayong kinakatakutan, or meron tayong kailangang takbuhin o awayin. And right now, the stresses that we have in our day-to-day, no? Hindi na siya actually related sa mga ganyan. This is already related to mental stress, emotional stress, yung mga ganong stress na hindi pa pinapansin noon ng mga ninuno natin. But that kind of stress still nagtitrigger pa rin siya ng parehong stress response. So yung stress response na yon is still going to induce sugar or glucose spike sa ating katawan, and that will lead to increased insulin, and that increase in insulin can, when chronic yung importante dito, chronic elevation. Yung chronic is on timeline na matagal, pang matagalan, and also continuous, parati siyang nasi-stimulate. So that kind of stimulation is not good for our body, kasi nga, insulin supposedly tumataas lang siya during growth years ng mga bata, or for example, during harvest season. Kasi yung harvest season, yun lang yung nakakain tayo ng matamis, ng sugar, plainly. And then, that is supposedly for, pag-iimbak na time. Because, hindi noon available all year round yung mga fruits na available sa atin ngayon. And those fruits, yung mga prutas na yon, will trigger harvest season na signal in our body. At anong ibig sabihin nun? The fruits contain fructose. Yung fructose po, kapag naipasok na sa ating katawan, it will not be processed by any other organ in the body, only by our liver. Okay? So, yung liver natin, yung gagawin niya, kapag pumasok na yung fructose sa ating katawan, sasabihin niya, uy, harvest season na. So, kailangan kong mag-imbak. Kailangan ko i-save yung very precious na fructose na to. Kasi minsan lang to eh. Minsan lang to in a year. Yung harvest season, paminsan-minsan lang talaga. And yung lugar na kung saan ako makakakita ng fruits, minsan lang to. So, yung gagawin ni liver, kukunin niya yung fructose na yon, ipaprocess niya, and it will convert it into storage. I-store niya, i-convert niya into storage form. At alam niyo ba kung anong storage form na yon? That is triglycerides, okay? And fatty acids, okay? So, it will convert into lipids. Magiging lipids po yan, magiging fats in simpler terms sa ating katawan. And of course, if you don't burn that, kapag hindi ka, yung harvest season mo, hindi ka nag-follow up ng fasting season, kasi nga, parati kang nasa harvest season, yung triglycerides na naka-build up na yon, wala na yung papupuntahan. It will just continue to accumulate and accumulate. Simula, mag-accumulate sa inyong liver, and then later on, it will overflow. Pwede siyang lumabas sa inyong bloodstream, so magkakaroon na kayo ng evidence of hypertriglyceridemia, and also later on, makikita na rin natin that it affect your other organs. So, you can have fat build up sa mga taong fat formers. And per experience, no, yung na-notice ko, yung mga taong hindi fat formers, kasi hindi sila tumataba, either genetically, hindi sila tabain, or yung mga tabain but very very conscious with physical activity. So what they do, they usually exercise. So when they exercise, nabiburn nila yung mga extra na yon sa kanilang katawan. But I know a number of people na payat, tapos hindi tumataba, but they have gallstones. Okay? So, nagkakaroon sila ng bile sludge, ng gallbladder problems, may mga polyps, merong thickening of their gallbladder walls. So, those things are signs of too much fats with inflammation in the body. Now, sinasabi ng traditional medicine that it's because of the overflow of fats in your system. And that is true. Pero yung sinasabi nila is that you have to cut down your fat intake, yung pagkain mo ng taba. Kasi nga, nag-overflow na sa katawan mo, di ba? That can be partly true. That can be partly correct. But they missed one thing. And that one thing that they missed is that yung fats na nag-accumulate talaga, the ones that causing in our body, may not be directly related to fat intake. Okay? It can only be related to fat intake if you're eating it together with carbs. But between carbs and fats, mas grabe po yung epekto ng carbohydrates than fats. Okay? Mas grabe yung epekto nun because the carbohydrates will promote insulin increase, and the moment na increase na yung insulin will be the one to dictate your liver. Siya po ang didikta. Magiging bossing siya sa liver, at sasabihin niya sa liver, gumawa ka ng triglycerides. Gumawa ka ng maraming fats, kasi yun yung panahon ngayon. It's harvest season and we have to save up for the rainy days, for the winter season, for the fasting season. And our body, sadly, hindi nila nare-recognize na bagong panahon na po ngayon, na meron na tayong refrigerator, meron na tayong pagkain anytime we want, meron na tayong mga instant anek-anek, no? And pwede na tayong magbaon ng pagkain at yung mga pagkain natin ay hindi na napapanis. So actually, there's no longer food scarcity. What we have now is food abundance. So dun kasi yung pinaka-root cause. But as to starting, it may be as simple as elimination of carbohydrates, but hindi lang po ganun ka-basic yon. Initially, you will see it work. Sa mga may experience na, makikita ninyo that the first 2 weeks of doing low carb, it is really, really effective. You will lose weight, tapos gagaan yung pakiramdam mo and all those. But after the 2 weeks, dun na kayo makaka-feel ng, uy, bakit nagka-cramps na ako? Bakit nangihina ako? Bakit noon nakakatakbo ako ng 5 kilometers without any problem? Bakit ngayon parang halos hindi ako makabangon agad-agad, na meron akong and ang aking ulo parating masakit, bakit hindi na ako parang nanglalambot yung muscles ko, hindi na ako ganun ka makagalaw. And those are actually side effects already of doing low carb the wrong way. Okay? Because hindi lang po carbohydrates yung focus natin. Yes, that is our priority. Number 1 yon, making sure that what you are eating is low in carbohydrates para hindi mag-spike yung insulin. Pero after that one, hindi lang po yan dapat. You have to follow up with nutrition. Kasi after you make sure that you are eating low carb, you have to make sure that you are eating nutritious low carb meals. Meaning, yung vitamins and micronutrient content ng kinakain nyo ay pasok na pasok din sa kailangan natin sa pang-araw-araw. At hindi po ito kailangan ng vitamins, ha? Walang kailangang vitamins and minerals dito. Actually, what you just need to do is to just know kung ano yung mga pagkaing rich in vitamins and minerals that are low carb. At yun po ay magiging enough. And of course, after making sure that your vitamins and minerals are covered, you have to make sure then na what you are eating is good, is enough when it comes to your energy requirement. So, iba-iba po yan, depending on your goals. Kung gusto nyo, yung goals ninyo is weight loss only, or if, for example, yung goal ninyo ay maintain weight, or even increase your weight through muscle mass para sa mga nagbe-build ng muscles, iba-iba po yun. And for those naman na merong mga conditions, say for example, meron ng heart problem, meron ng fatty liver, o di kaya meron ng high blood pressure na merong iniinom na gamot. So, hindi po ito basta-basta na gagawin nyo lang without supervision. Or else, yung mangyayari sa inyo, you can have electrolyte imbalance. And electrolyte imbalance, it can be very, very serious. It can be deadly. Okay? I have heard, no? Wala pa naman akong kilala personally, but someone whom I know and they know na merong isang anak na nag-keto daw. That's what they heard. That's what they said. Without any supervision. And then after a while, pumayat and all that, and they were rushed in the hospital. Very young pa, around 20 siguro. So you know that their genes or baka yung physiologic response nila supposedly maganda kasi bata pa, di ba? Yet they succumbed to death. Okay? Namatay po talaga. And it's just because of hypokalemia. Bumaba lang po yung potassium. So, potassium is very, very important. It is a tricky thing when it comes to potassium. Kasi nga, potassium, when too much, is deadly din. In fact, yung potassium nga is yun yung binibigay in lethal injections. Yun po yung tinuturok para po during lethal injections na cases. But, it is also very essential. So, lahat tayo, takot na sa potassium, and we are actually ending up eating very, very few potassium. We have chronic hypokalemia, and what's tricky about hypokalemia, no, yung chronic hypokalemia, you may not be able to detect it sa inyong blood chemistry. Pwede kayong magkaroon ng hypokalemia na pangmatagalan. And the moment na magpa-check kayo sa labs, pwedeng mag-appear na normal lang. How come na meron kayong mababang potassium sa katawan pero normal ang inyong blood values? This is because potassium is an intracellular electrolyte. Ibig sabihin, itong electrolyte na po ito, dapat nasa loob siya ng cells. Kukonti lang dapat yung kanyang value na nasa labas ng inyong dugo. So, say for example, ang normal values ng potassium ay sa bloodstream nasa 3.5 to 5.5 lang. You compare that with the normal values of salt or sodium sa ating bloodstream. It's 130, 135 to 145. Sobrang taas. It's because ang sodium po o asin is actually an extracellular na level na electrolyte, whereas it should be balanced with potassium na pang intracellular. Okay? So yun yung importante. So yung nangyayari, if you are not supplementing, you are not eating, ha? When I say supplementing, hindi po yan ibig sabihin na kakain talaga, na iinom kayo agad ng supplemental form, supplemental dose. No. But you can just have those potassium coming from your natural food sources. Okay? Yung importante dito, we have to recognize na kapag hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng adequate potassium intake, we are actually risking na yung potassium na nasa loob ng cells ay lalabas yan. Ilalabas niya just so it can supply ng potassium level na nasa dugo. Because our homeostasis, yung po yung term na ginagamit sa balance within our body, that homeostasis will be dependent on the blood values. Extracellular, no? Intravascular levels. So, in the end, magko-compensate po yan. Ilalabas ng inyong cells yung kailangan yung potassium para lang po matugunan yung nasa labas, no? So, if you can imagine, kung kada cells natin are yung bahay natin and yung blood vessels ay yung mga daan, so yung mga potassium na nasa loob lang sana ng bahay, pinalabas na kasi importante na meron yung normal level ng potassium sa labas. So, yung nangyayari, nagkakaroon ng manifestations na lalambot, okay? So, panglalambot is already a muscular problem. So, yung mga cells sa muscles mismo, kumonti na yung potassium, nagpapalpitate, okay? So, nagpapalpitate kasi yung puso natin, it's very, very active. All day yan nagbe-beat, no? And that muscular contraction, muscle po yung puso natin. It's called cardiomyocyte. It's the cells, no? It's the cardiac muscle. Muscle din po siya, nangangailangan ng potassium to increase. That's why, kapag bumagsak yung potassium nyo, pwede siyang mas naging active to try to compensate. At kapag hindi pa rin naagapan, magkakaroon ng possible fluctuating yung BP po. So noon, yung iba kailangan po kailangan pang gumamot, uminom ng gamot para ma-normalize yung BP. Nakita nila na with low carb nutrition ay bumaba talaga yung kanilang blood pressure, pero bigla-bigla na hindi na nila alam kung bakit biglang tumataas na naman. And most common reason, no, sa mga naglo-low carb, it's because they are not taking well care of their electrolytes. So, nagkakaroon ng compensatory mechanism. Yung katawan, yung heart natin, kailangan niyang mag-pump better. So, those are the things na ayaw nating mangyari po. So, marami pa yan. It can start with sodium, yung asin kinulang, and then kinulang din ng potassium, and then kapag hindi na-address, kukulangin na rin ng magnesium, especially sa mga physically active, and then kukulangin din eventually yung calcium, and then everything else, pwedeng magkaroon ng problema. One thing also, for those doing low carb for 2 years, for 3 years na, tapos yung nangangayayat na, and then yung buhok kumukonte, and then hindi na nireregla, those are already signs of malnutrition, starvation period, okay? So it's good na you were able to experience some degree of fasting kasi kailangan naman talaga yon because our body is used to cycles, no? Our genetics talaga, based talaga siya sa nakasanayan niya for the last 2.5 million years ago, na yung importante po is actually ang importante dito is the cycle of fasting and then some degree of feasting and then eating. Hindi kailangan high carb, okay? Paminsan-minsan lang talaga yung fruits noon. And then ang nangyayari ngayon, if you've been into low carb for 3 years na, for 2 years na, kasi uso lang talaga yung low carb way back 2018, 2019 eh. So seldom you can find people practicing more than 3 years in the Philippines. If nagsimula sila more than 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, those people are the ones that are mga masigasig talaga mag-aral. And when they are masigasig mag-aral, I mean, they really went beyond, no, para po ma-explore yung low carb, and I'm sure they reap the benefits. But if they are not very careful about this, no, kung hindi sila careful sa ganyan, you can have a signal sa katawan mo that you are already in starvation mode. So we have to give our body the reassurance. So kung papaano kumain right after you've reached your goal, pagkatapos yung pumayat, pagkatapos yung mag-heal ng inyong conditions, pagkatapos yung umayos na yung inyong blood sugar, inyong blood pressure, kailangan alam din ninyo kung ano yung mga pagkain na pang-maintain. Ano yung kakainin na mag-maintain ng inyong progress without jeopardizing yung health na na-achieve na ninyo and hindi na kayo ulit mag-deteriorate. So those are the things that are important to consider. So now, ano yung kailangan yung gawin to how to start it right? So I hope you are already part of the group, and for our admins, I hope you can share this video to our groups, no, para alam nila that we are live right now. But for those who are not yet part, we have Facebook groups that supports this, okay? So we have Life Without Rice, okay? Yung Life Without Rice, I will tell you one by one kung ano po yung mga groups natin. So yung Life Without Rice, yun yung by name, no? Walang rice dyan, unless shirataki rice, cauliflower rice, and all of those others rice alternatives na low carb. But the more important part of Life Without Rice is what set is different from other low-carb groups is meron talaga kaming very active admins and moderators. I would like to say hi to all of you and thank you so much for helping out. Halos, yung nga sinasabi ko, the group is not mine. I just started it, but it's not mine. Sa atin po lahat yan. And right now, ang mga admins and mods natin, you can see them very active in our group. Sila po talaga, they are the ones really running the page, no? Running the group. And I have them to really thank for because they are guiding and helping sa mga members na hindi na-approve yung kanilang post. It's because we have very strict guidelines. First, no, we have to make sure na yung mga na pinopost dyan are of best practice and practical foods din. Hindi man minsan yung ideal, but sometimes to make the lifestyle sustainable. Yung nangyayari dyan, ina-approve namin. Say for example, we don't promote that, or as much as possible, we don't allow processed foods, no? As much as possible. Although marami, yung processed foods, naging controversial pa yan sa Life Without Rice last time. But it's the idea na the least processed foods could be the best foods, okay? So yun. But for practicality's sake, so for example, kapag kumakain outside, so sometimes it is okay to post there what you ordered in that certain restaurant na low carb, so that kung mangyari talaga na people go out because they cannot eat outside, or maybe it's for a certain occasion, we can help them. We can give them an idea what they can do para hindi sila matempt na mag-high carb just because they are eating outside. We have to educate them and into saying na merong option, no? You can stay low carb kahit nasa labas ka, or kahit nasa restaurant ka, or kahit naka-drive-thru ka lang, okay? So yun yung very important part of that. So, ang sa Life Without Rice po, if you will join Life Without Rice, our admins are there. You can check in the comment section. Ilalagay po nila yung link dyan kung paano mag-join. And you can share that link to your family and friends. It's free. Wala pong bayad yung Life Without Rice na joining. And the post is just subject for approval to ensure quality. If you will see Life Without Rice, it is a beautiful timeline of just foods. Kasi ginawa natin yan because yung mga tao, the moment we say that you can start a life without rice, a food without rice, yung mga Pinoy talaga, hindi ko ma-imagine ano yung kakainin ko kapag wala ng kanin. So, having Life Without Rice in your timeline every day, you will be inspired with hundreds of posts, no, of people, mostly Filipinos, but we have a lot of members from other countries na din na para malaman natin how it can be easy, how it can be applicable on your part. And that is also the reason why hindi po kami nagbibigay ng meal plan, okay? Because meal plan is just teaching you, giving you a fish, it's like giving you a fish. But what we are doing is we are teaching you how to fish. We want you to really own. Gusto namin you own the journey. Gusto namin you own the knowledge. And so you can advocate as well sa iba ninyong family, sa inyong mga kapitbahay, sa mga loved ones ninyo para mas madali. Kasi sobrang hirap. Kasi sabihin nila, yung kinakain ko lang ngayon, ano lang, na baboy, karne at atay. Anong gagawin mo kung hindi kumakain ng karne yung kanilang religion, yung kanilang current area, wala talagang binebentang karne o di kaya yung they don't eat this kind of food for whatever specific reason, baka may allergy siya. So that's already very restrictive. But if you know the proper low carb, if you understand it by heart, alam mo na walang imposible. May option lahat. Kahit vegan nga. Kahit vegan ay pwedeng maging low carb. Okay? So, we are pro-choice. So, yung gusto natin, empowered lahat sa kung ano man yung choices nila. So, Life Without Rice, it's a group na wherein you can post and get inspiration when it comes to food. And meron din dyan support, and the admins will help kung merong mga queries, especially the new members, kung bakit na-decline, o anong reason, bakit okay ito, o bakit hindi ito okay, bakit sobrang choosy nyo sa mayonnaise, bakit sobrang choosy nyo sa oil, bakit ayaw nyong gawing pangluto yung olive oil. So, yun yung mga concerns doon that you can be helped, because we want you to really own this journey para matranslate talaga into your everyday life, no? Yung everyday mo na mga ginagawa, yung practical side, it can really be easily translated. And now, moving on to our next group, I think yung most since our Life Without Rice now, we are beyond 250,000, no? At least na tayo, 1/4 a million. 1/4, quarter of a million. So, yay, no? Galing-galing. So, we are already at 250,000. And that's in 2 years. I think that's in 2 years' time. So, not bad. Okay na rin. So, we are a happy and very supportive group. And then, we have a complementary, actually, mas nauna po yung isang group. It's low carb feasting and fasting community. Dito naman, kung meron kayong mga tanong, kung meron kayong mga queries about low carb and fasting, dito nyo po yan itatanong. Okay? Because Life Without Rice is strictly photos lang. Okay? Photos that you share directly. Kung mga links po or from outside, as much as possible, we'll limit that. Okay? Or except kung galing sa page ko. Kasi pinagbigyan ako ng mga admin So, ng admin and moderators, they allow if it's coming from my page. But generally, to make it fair, wala po talaga yan. So to make the timeline beautiful, na nakikita natin, it's really mostly on foods lang. And then, if you have queries and questions, like kanina lang, ano ba yon? May nagtanong kanina Hindi nakalimutan ko kung ano yung tanong niya, pero I declined it and I said na dapat doon sa LCFF niya na ilagay. So, low carb, feasting, and fasting community, yung other group natin, doon po nagtatanong about electrolytes, about fasting, about IF, yung mga side effect, kung anong brand yung okay, kung anong ganyan. And we do not also promote, yung number 1 po dito, wala po kaming pinopromote na any specific brand talaga or product. Wala po kaming binebenta. The coaches, us, meron kaming mga companies we support, but we never impose that to anyone. Okay? And we have products that we use because we believe in it. And binibili talaga namin yon. Wala kaming parang what you say, sponsorship or not. No. We buy those. And when we believe in it and alam namin that it's somewhat that is easy to have, no? It's affordable, it's reasonable, and sometimes we write the brand, but generally as much as possible we don't mention the brand, but we mention yung parang generic kung ano. Like say for example, parati nagka-question, ano po yung whey protein na ginagamit nyo? So hindi ko pa rin yan sinasagot. So I just say that the whey protein that is ideal is yung the ideal for me, okay? Because hindi naman ako plant-based. So I eat animals. So I believe that milk-based whey protein or beef-based whey protein is really somewhat the better kind if ever you choose to have that, because that is easily absorbed, okay? And try to get the ones na kakonti lang yung kakonti lang yung kanyang ingredients, hindi lalagpas sa 10 or pwede nga lang hindi lalagpas sa 5. So just the whey protein isolate, maybe if they can have some preservatives a little para hindi ma-spoil, and then just yung mga emulsifiers, yung mga ganon, and if it's flavored, so just sweetener na approved sweetener. So yun po yung mga things that you have have to take into account. Okay? So, as a sample lang yan. Sample lang yung whey protein isolate. So, kung meron kung importante dito, it's sugar-free. And it's not using the toxic na mga sweeteners. So, mga acesulfame, so yung mga, what else? Aspartame, so yung mga ganon. As much as possible, not those. Merong iba na parang okay na lang, a little passable, kasi kukonti lang naman talaga. Pero, as much as possible, kung pwede unflavored, so wala talaga, the best ones are still possibly stevia, monk fruit, allulose, and then erythritol. Okay? Medyo madalang lang sila in the market, but they are there. And yung iba, pre-order nga lang. And then, moving forward, okay? So, meron tayong 2 groups. So, low-carb feasting and fasting community and life without rice. And if hindi naman po, meron din po kaming YouTube channel. So, you can just check in my page, in my YouTube, it's Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo lang din. So, follow nyo po. I'm not really promoting it so much. Kaya, konti lang talaga yung following yan. And for the longest time, hindi ko talaga yan pinagtuunan ng pansin. And also, shout out to EJ. So, thank you to EJ. Siya po yung unang na tumulong sa akin to transfer the videos from my page going to YouTube's. And right now, at least, konti na lang. We just upload whenever we can, no? Para para ma-synchronize. But generally, it's all there. Halos lahat ata ng sakit na pag-usapan na natin. So, if you have questions, just type in the search bar. Say, for example, GERD, and then Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. Lalabas po yan. Fasting, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. Lalabas po yan. So, it's there. Ewan ko kung gaano nakadami yung videos. So, medyo marami-rami na rin talaga. But we have it there and you can check the link. So, generally, if you watch all the videos, you'll know what to do. Okay? And depende rin po sa resourcefulness ninyo. And if ever medyo pagod kayo to do it na DIY way, no? And also you want to be safe. Say for example, meron na kayong existing conditions na better if guided by a doctor. So that is where we recommend na it should be on a guided na nga. It's in a guided manner. So we created a program, the master classes, the low carb and fasting master classes, na hindi na po siya yung sinabi ko kanina na it's very very tiring na ganon. Right now we made it into a point na hindi po siya toxic, hindi siya nakakapagod. So it's an online course divided into 2. Merong 14 days and 21 days. Yung 14 days, yung mga walang sakit, yung mga gusto lang mag-improve. I think meron talaga yon, and I congratulate you. Kayo talaga yung i-congratulate ko because you really want to own your health at kahit hindi nyo hinintay. Kasi I feel na minsan yung mga sakit natin are blessing in disguise, wherein kapag nagkasakit tayo, that's the time that we started to question things and to really look for possible improvements. And doon na natin nakita si low carb, doon na natin nakita si intermittent fasting, and then eventually nagkaroon na ng extended fasting. So kahit extended fasting that we don't talk a lot so much, pinag-uusapan po natin dyan in our 14-day masterclass, kasi yun yung parang optimum health prevention, no? Optimum illness prevention. Kasi yung health natin, yun talaga yung pinaka-importante na dapat kung healthy tayo ngayon, that's the best time for you to start low carb. Kasi wala ka pang i-combat na sakit. Wala ka pang i-consider na sakit, but you just need to maintain it and even improve it. Kasi minsan, akala mo the best na yung performance mo na, say for example, around 8/10, but when you starting doing low carb, no, you can be surprised that you can have energies 9 or 10/10. Ganun po talaga ka-amazing yung pag-change ng lifestyle natin. And also, the 21-day masterclass. So, 21 days, each day, meron po tong 20 minutes video. So, the 14 days will be incorporated there. And the specific disease, 7 days po yan. So, yung mangyayari, papasok kayo sa group, message niyo po si Coach Alvin and Coach Angela. They will handle the registration. At kapag okay na po, meron na kayong registration number, na kumpleto niyo na yung registration requirements, papasok na kayo sa group natin, sa Facebook group natin. And then you can see there, merong announcement, merong guides, no? Eventually, we will put the classes. I-check niyo lang po yung announcement para malaman niyo how to maneuver. Kung meron kayong tanong, all of the questions will be entertained. Unless, of course, na pag-usapan na natin offline or in our private chats with the admins, no? But generally, the questions are answered there, and then you can watch the video. So 20 minutes a day para hindi po siya ganun ka-heavy. But if you are if you are on the roll, kumbaga, pwede nyo po siyang i-marathon na yung 21 days na yon, pwede nyong i-marathon na tapusin nyo na agad. So, you can do a marathon on diabetes, hypertension, fatty liver, and ngayon, yung isa, ano nga yung isa natin? So, 4 na yun, obesity and weight loss. And yung mga dyslipidemia, taas na triglycerides, yung pagtaas ng LDL, pagtaas ng cholesterol, all of those will be covered. Okay? So, tuturuan po kahit yung mga medication adjustment, all of those, meron po yung theoretical knowledge that will be taught to you para kayo mismo alam na alam nyo what's going on in your body. And right now, we are moving on our 5th masterclass this coming Sunday na ba? This Sunday, about GERD, hyperacidity, and ulcer. And yung best part about this is we are going to have a live Q&A during Saturday. Every Saturday, 12 noon to 1. Minsan umaabot kami ng 2 p.m. So dito po, lahat ng questions will be entertained because this is a private group. So hindi natin ito, alam natin that the people who are in that group are really committed into improving their lives. Hindi lang sila basta silent readers lang or mga yung mga passive or nakikinig lang. Hindi. They are really active when it comes to their way of life. So sometimes we do a parang interview, no? Na spontaneous interview, parang live Q&A, parang patient-doctor na ganyan. Parang yun yung nagagawa because we have an virtual studio. So pumapasok lang sa studio and then nagtatanungan. Pagkatapos na answer na yung question, lalabas na sila and then comes another na member of our groups, no? At magtatanong ulit. So that's how our Q&A works. But we opened it for the last 2 months to everyone. But now we realize na we have to restrict a little. So admissions, the admissions in this group will be subject for approval pa po. Okay? So, hindi lang just because you paid, you will already demand on anything. No. Because importante po na merong value and then hindi po nawawala yung value and quality ng groups, no? So, we are now going to restrict enrollees depending on the assessment of the admins. Okay? If we feel that you cannot keep up with the requirements of commitment to really following how to behave in our groups and all in our classes, and also to make sure that you are prioritizing your health by really getting to know kung bakit nagkakaganyan. So, for example, kanina may nagtatanong, bakit daw nasa 18 hours fasting na siya, 94 yung kanyang blood sugar, and then hindi pa siya kumain, and then afterwards 94 pa din. So nag-worry. So actually yung sagot lang dyan, nasa week 1 na live Q&A video. Okay? So you have to watch. Okay? So yun lang yan. Generally, lahat ng mga tanong na answer and it's being addressed, and the whole community. It's like a family and a supportive community na para sa lahat. So yun yung importante po that you start this. And of course, it's not about na yung mga challenges, why you can't do it the right way, because there is always a way to do it the right way, but it's not going to be given to you spoon feeding. You have to do your part. I'm sure meron kayong mga kilala na nag-start ng low carb, diabetic for 10 years, 20 years, hypertensive for 15 years, and nag-low carb lang, nainip agad. Kasi bakit hindi pa umaayos yung blood pressure ko? 3 months na akong nag-low carb. Can you compare 3 months as compared to 20 decades, 15 years na hypertensive kayo? You don't rush your healing. You are demanding so much para sa katawan ninyo. Okay? And yes, 3 months is generally sobrang enough na. That may be parang sobrang hirap paniwalaan na nagiging okay na in just 3 months. Actually, yung recent na patients ko, there are a couple, parents ng LCF coach natin, yung kanilang HbA1c from 6.9 and 7.2 in just a matter of 25 days. Imagine, 25 days lang. Hindi nga umabot ng 4 weeks. Hindi nga umabot ng 1 month. Okay? It went down to 5.1 and then 5.6. So, ganun kababa. So, that low carb is really amazing. It can be the most miraculous, kumbaga, yung sinasabi natin. And it can be considered as God-given talaga na technique, na way, no? Pero, yun nga, yung isang kwento dyan na merong tao na nasa in the middle of a flood, no? Nababahaan na siya. So, in the middle of the flood, he's praying na sana daw, Lord, tulungan mo ko. Yun lang yung prayers niya. At grabe yung faith niya. Na tutulungan siya ni Lord. And then, maya-maya, merong dumating na may bangka. And then, sinabihan siya, kailangan mong lumangoy dito kasi hindi ako makakapunta dyan. Tapos sabi niya, hindi, natutulungan ako ni Lord. And then later on, umalis na yon. And then later on, meron na namang dumaan na helicopter. Okay? Kukunin din siya para tulungan siya. Tapos sabi niya, hindi ako sasakay kasi tutulungan ako ni Lord. Alam ko, tutulungan niya ako. Kukunin niya ako dito. Isasalban niya ako. And then comes another help. Pero hindi pa rin siya tumanggap ng tulong. And then, when he died, nagkita sila ni Lord, and then tinanong niya si Lord, bakit hindi mo ko kinuha? So, sabi ni Lord, nagpadala ako ng bangka, nagpadala ako ng mga tao, nagpadala ako ng helicopter, pero lahat sila inayawan mo. Okay? You were demanding for so much. You were demanding for something very specific. But help can be in different forms. Okay? So, God's help can be presented in many manners. For others, it can be the money that they can now afford to buy medicine. It can be that they found a very good hospital to take care of them. For others sa iba, yung mga huli na sana lahat, buti na lang naagapan pa na surgery. Or it can be the life without rice. Dropping by your timeline, merong dumaan pagkain na walang kanin, merong isang doktor na dumaan na kumakain ng baboy, tapos sinasabihan kanya na hindi masama ang taba. So those can be any signs of possible help that can help you. Okay? So we are not promising anything, but what we are promising is to provide you with the best possible way to heal it according to our current most recent studies and research. Okay? So science is ever evolving, but the main foundation of low carb nutrition and fasting, hindi lang siya basta-basta na science, it's actually evolutionary science. So what I can't predict in the long run is magkakaroon ng maraming studies to support this scientifically. But as to like changing it directly, I don't think so. It's just going to be low carb nutrition is just starting and fasting, and you are one of those very, very at advantage, okay? You are at advantage because you are here first, okay? Feeling natin minsan marami na tayo because we are always in our groups. We are flooding our timelines with low carb coaches, doctors, we follow everyone. But don't ever forget, nakakonti pa lang po tayo ngayon sa mundo, especially sa Pilipinas. So that's why we have to be loud. Kailangan maging mas maingay po tayo. Bahala na po na kahit medyo annoying na tayo. You will never know who will you save. You will just never know who will you get inspired with your journey. So don't be shy. Okay? Don't be shy. Be proud and do it with a heart and concern na baka makatulong ito sa iba. So, yun lang po. How long did we take? Can I see? Natagalan ba tayo? I'm not so sure. Dal ko, no? So, thank you so much, everybody. I hope to see you in Life Without Rice, in Low Carb Feasting and Fasting community, or you can comment in our YouTube channels. And also, if you can join our masterclass para mas magkita tayo on a weekly basis for our live Q&A. And we are actually envisioning at least one member of the family na maging part ng ating masterclass, and we even promote for you to share whatever knowledge and the videos. You can share the classes with the whole family. So, hindi po namin yan dinadamot. So, we want at least one member of the family kung pwede, kasi isang account yung allowed. So, one account, you can create even an account that's for sharing for the whole family para lahat po makakapag-benefit. At kahit anytime, pwedeng mag-online so that they can learn as well. So, yun lang po muna for now. Thank you so much for being with me, and amazing. Alam nyo ba, nakarating tayo up to 900 viewers kanina, and thank you to the 658 who are still here with me. Please wish me luck at sana lang makapag-aral na talaga ako, and I will no longer procrastinate after this. But thank you so much. My prayers and my thoughts and all of my wishes are all with you. So stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Maraming salamat, everyone. Thank you!